Done by Noon podcast, episode number 8. Today we're going to talk about the truth about the 4-hour work week.
You're listening to the Done by Noon podcast, a podcast for entrepreneurs who want to achieve more by noon than others in a full day. Serial entrepreneur Dave Ruel and his co-host Chris Lopez share the strategies that will help you optimize your productivity, performance, and lifestyle so you can reach new heights in your business and life. So if you're ready to become the most efficient and effective entrepreneur you know, you're in the right place. Welcome to the show.
The truth about the 4-hour work week from the guys who bring you the Done by Noon podcast. That's kind of ironic.
It is. Yeah, I know, right? What people don't know is that we start our days at midnight. So it's really a 12-hour day.
Exactly. Chris, don't say that. It breaks all the magic.
I know, exactly. I didn't even
Oh my
God.
God.
You're absolutely right. That's hilarious.
Oh, dude, that's funny. But listen. I get that all the time, though. That's why, I think it's a good topic for us today. But I get people telling me like, oh, it's like I love the title of what you're doing. I love like Done by Noon, and it's like it sounds a lot like the 4-hour work week. And I was like, yeah, basically we all preach kind of the same thing, being more, productivity through efficiency, systems, process building, routines, things like that, optimization, which is all broad. But all in all, we're all attracted to the idea, the lifestyle, maybe idea of the 4-hour work week or, the Done by Noon. I think Done by Noon, is more, the methodology really is geared towards entrepreneurs. So the fact is that it's not about not working. It's not about just being on vacation 24/7. The key is like we're entrepreneurs because we actually love working.
Right.
And it's about finding better ways to work in order to be more productive, but also like enjoy more, being more fulfilled through your work and your life as well. So I think that's a thing. I think the 4-hour work week gets some bad rep as well from people who actually haven't read the book. They're judging the book by the cover, and when you read the book about it, it could have been called 10,000 other titles, right? It's just a brilliant freaking book title.
It was. And that's the thing with the book, The 4-Hour Work Week, the title itself. It's just the marketing. But if you look into the principles of it, there are a lot of good principles in it. Trying to be a business owner instead of being the boss or being an employee. Trying to find ways to make. I hate the term passive income, but make income almost like how to automate things and how to make things work for you, and not necessarily working as hard as you should be working, but as hard as you have to work to be effective. In the end, the 4-hour work week, that title in and of itself was a great marketing. It was good marketing.
It's like Mark's book, Mark Manson's book, the subtle art of not giving a fuck.
Yeah.
He actually was an article before it became the book. Mark is a brilliant writer. I met him a few times. We're part of a mastermind together a couple of years ago, and I met him where we're down at a gathering in Mexico.
Okay,
and he's an interesting cat too. He's a great fellow, tall guy, and very shy, very introverted, and it was fun. His wife is that's funny. His wife, I think, is a lot more. See, there's a balance in couples. Mark is more an introvert. Well, he's an introvert. His wife's is a Brazilian, like more extroverted. And I had a good time with these guys. They're good people. But yeah, he nailed, I guess, like the title of it came like that. And he's a great writer too. And then, it just speaks to people. Just the book appeals to people in a way that it's self-explanatory. Like people all look at it as like, wow, okay, I wish I would not give a fuck about a lot of things. I feel frustrated about so many things in my life, and we're frustrated because we actually give a fuck about stuff.
Yep.
And we give a fuck about things that And sometimes, why do we give a fuck about things? Because sometimes it goes way back on, towards our childhood, things like, the way we grew up or conditioned and things like that. So, yeah, it's based on our ultimate aspiration. Basically, we just don't want to give a fuck about anything and work 4 hours a week.
Yeah.
As humans, that's all
it's
we
funny
want.
when Mark released that book, you noticed that a bunch of other titles came out with like swearing in the title as well.
Yep.
Because he started.
Oh, yeah.
Similar to like when Tim Ferriss coined the term lifestyle entrepreneur, all of a sudden, all of these lifestyle entrepreneurs started coming out with their own books and their own little take on it and everything.
Yeah.
And yeah, so trendsetter.
I guess I get, yeah. But but that's the thing. That's how they start, right? And I think Tim was the first. It was early in the online game too.
Yeah.
So I think that what really was like when the internet. Then the internet became like became the kind of the poster child, if you want, for a lifestyle. Like, oh, you have an internet business, like you would have freedom, right?
Right.
Then, and it's been what? Like, how long have people been building? Like, I mean, on the mainstream level, like online businesses, maybe 25 years.
Yeah.
I mean, I've known guys who have been building in their business in the early 1990s. Lee started his business in what, 1995, 96?
Your original mentor.
My original mentor. He's the guy who actually did I told that story before?
Yeah, I think
on the podcast.
Yeah, that was
part of the
origin story, man.
Yeah. So yeah, he was the first person who really showed me what an actual lifestyle entrepreneur was. And I didn't know about the 4-hour work week or anything like that at the time. But yeah, I think Tim was early in the game and made, the internet synonymous with freedom, I guess. That's why and people milked it for 15 years. 15, but 10. It's like, now I think people get it. It's like everything is online now. Like you need, if you have a business, even though it's brick and mortar, you need that online component. So it's all integrated kind of thing. So there's not that sexiness of building an online business anymore. It's not as sexy as it used to be.
No.
I think people and listen, from guys who have been in the online space for a long time, we can all say that, you can create something quite similar with another style of business. It doesn't need to be an online business. The internet makes it a lot better now to manage from remote locations, meaning as a business owner, as a manager, you don't necessarily need to be there, at a specific location. And I think what we're witnessing with the COVID-19, crisis is that, we're seeing that now we're in an era where it's going to be expected to work online, to work remotely, to work from home, to not commute for 2 hours, to go to a job. You know what I mean? I think people understand now that, and here's one thing that I saw is that, see how much pollution stopped, less pollution there is now that people actually stay home. People realize that, okay, we want to make some actionable steps towards a greener society. Or here's one: start working from home. Stop driving for 2 hours for a useless meeting, right? Because you're expected to be at work at 8. You know what I mean?
Well, with everything automated now and all the tasks automated too, you're taking up valuable real estate and using up a lot of resources by just being in an office. Why not work from home? You're probably more effective doing that as well. And we're seeing that in schools as well. You and I talked about running a family and a business in the last episode, and my wife is just taking her classes with her homeschooling group online. So she's the administrator for 2 homeschooling groups, and now she's just said, okay, we're doing everything online now. So
and guess what? It's just adaptation.
Yeah.
That's all there is. And I think people have just been used to doing things a certain way, and now they're forced to actually change their ways, so they're doing it.
Yep.
and they're going to realize that, okay, wow, it's actually way better than we thought,
Yeah.
or this is actually a way better way of doing things, right? And I think this is a needed change of mentality when it comes to running things. I mean, I've been saying that for a long time because I've seen it, like having built online businesses and being able to run my businesses like totally remote for the past like 12 years now.
Mm-hmm.
And seeing that all the inefficiencies in the work world, on how people operate, I'm like, gosh, no, come on, like that could be done a lot better, right?
Yeah.
But I'm like, it was something that felt like I was preaching, that I needed to preach only for online business owners. And I feel like now we're finally, getting through into the everyday world, everyday business, and that people now understand how to operate differently. It's going to change a lot of things, man. I think that whole crisis, as shitty and as negative as it is for everybody, will bring probably clearer skies and bluer skies in the future. Better ways of doing things, more efficient ways of doing things, and maybe more in line with what we truly want as human beings. Because that what does he say about us? We were joking about it. What does he say about the fact that we're attracted to the 4-hour work week, that we're attracted to the subtle art of not giving a fuck? That means that there's something that is not working in the way we're doing things.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just a symptom of shit that's not working.
Right. Yeah.
And and honestly, like, you have to take a clear look into what you really want and how to make it happen. I don't think there's any reason why not now. It's just the way you're going to be structuring your life and your business. So it's a good time, actually, I guess, to have that episode and talk about it, because it's a time of reflection towards the future, and I think it's going to benefit so many people.
Yeah, I mean, again, you and I were talking off mic about the opportunities that'll be presented given the state of the world. I mean, so for context, we're recording this episode we're both self quarantined right now during the coronavirus pandemic, and smart people will see the opportunities in what it is that we're doing. I mean, there's an opportunity to reconnect with our families. There's an opportunity to work from home, to see how effective and how efficient your processes actually are, because you are confined. You don't have to go to work now. So you can work from home, and you've got your kids home. And so how much work can you get done, or how effective can you be while you have your kids at home? Can you get what you need to get done? And do it efficiently so that you can be there for your family. So there are opportunities right now that people aren't seeing, but it's like what you said, like the beautiful things will come out of this once we get out of the difficult times.
Yeah. And back to Tim's book, The 4-Hour Work Week, I think, and I think it's going to have a more, like, it's going to become more real. Like, that way of working is going to become more real to people. Meaning, like, okay, I understand. People are going to start like understanding leverage, versus just trading time for, hours, talent for money. I'm trading my talent, and I'm putting in hours of my talent and trading it for money. It's just like, hey, let's trade results for money, and it doesn't matter if I work X amount or if I do this and I do that. It's all about maybe the results that I can provide. And this is what's going to be interesting, because talent now changes as well, right? We're not just looking to raw talent. We're talking to creative people. We're thinking about, like, when you look at a resume, like, the resume doesn't really matter anymore, know? And I've been saying that for a while, that, I don't really care. I never hired, I never ask for a resume. Like, when I hire people, I just don't ask for a resume, because I don't want to be biased by anything. I just want to recognize attitude first and skills. And from there, I might ask for, some experience, things like that. But or for a portfolio or things like that. But I'm more interested in seeing like what a person can do and the attitude that a person has than just, having and people don't tell the truth on their resumes. It's always embellished. Like it's vastly embellished, and I mean, you have to look into these things, but it's all about the way that the skills that are needed in today's world, and resourcefulness, creativity, critical thinking, problem solving, all these things that are so important when things that automation are not going to be able to replace.
Right.
And we're not talking about robots taking over the world and things like that. It's just technology goes to a point where there's some micro tasks or more mechanical tasks that are just becoming done by algorithms now. It just becomes a lot easier, to do. The number of SaaS, software as a service type of businesses coming out every day is insane. You have a lot more offerings for this. So you got to realize that this is just a commodity now, but creativity and all these things that I just numbered are going to be what people want, right? So, yeah, the way I think we work will change. I think the thing to be careful, and the myth, that I want to bust with the 4-hour work week, or the truth that I think we wanted to reveal to you guys today, was that there's no magic button that you're going to press that will instantly make you only work 4 hours a week. And I think that's, people are being sold on passive income quite a bit, and these days, like, oh, you build an internet business and you build passive income. What people don't realize is that building passive income will require you to front load a massive amount of work time. You're not just going to press a button and build like a cash printing machine.
Never works like that.
It works well on a sales copy, though. People want to hear these words. But truth is, like, it rarely happens. Yes, there's some home runs that happen. Like, I mean, I've had some great successes with businesses that literally, like, as soon as they were launched, they were money printing machines. However, they're the results of, years and years of expertise, years of building things like that. But didn't come overnight. The overnight success always takes, years. And that's something you're going to have to realize, that even then, 4-hour work weeks, that, okay, well, to get to that point, what's going to take for you to work a limited number of hours? Just like what we teach you with, only working, like with the done by noon methodology, is that, it attracts a lot of people. I'll tell them, well, guess what? You're probably not going to be done by noon now, but I'm going to show you how to get there, right? Which is realistic. Yes, that you're going to be attracted by the title, but realize that if you really want that, there's going to be a process to follow, and there's going to be some steps. And over time, you will eventually get there. But in order to do it and bring that sustainability, there's a humongous amount. There's a fair amount of consistent work. It doesn't need to be a big, huge amount, like, that you need to work on, but it could be things that you keep doing on a constant basis in order to improve the situation, to optimize the situation you're in, and improve things. And this way, you reach a level of freedom that you want, right? That you can acquire. So I think a lot of people are just easily like take down the title of the book of the 4-hour work week without actually having read what it's all about,
Well, I mean, with any business, and this can be brick or mortar or an online business, good businesses, regardless of how you're building it or where you're building it, be it on online real estate or on physical real estate, you build the business based on specific principles. And a lot of that is like solving a problem, making sure that you're able to solve a problem, making sure that
you're customer centric and that you add value and that you really take care of your customers. Like there are certain principles that you use to build a business. And the issue that I have with the whole 4-Hour Workweek title and the myth behind it is that, I correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the whole term hacks, like life hacks or business hacks or 20 hacks to, build a passive income, that all started to come part and parcel when the 4-Hour Workweek was released. And the problem with that is that if you build a business on hacks, you're ending up building your business basically on like a house of cards where there really is no foundation. So if it's completely, the thing with building a good business is that you can't take shortcuts. I mean, you can take a shortcut in the sense of like there are certain ways to do it the right way. Like if somebody has a business that you want and you offer mentorship, like what we were talking about before, you go out and find a mentor, then yeah, you'll cut the learning curve down. But you just can't build a business based on piecing a bunch of stuff together without having these foundational principles or knowing these foundational principles and living them.
But it's like learning how to drive. It's like learning how to drive a race car. How do you get faster? By taking better turns, by optimizing your turns. You know what I mean? By learning how to shift at the right time. All these things, that you're going to be able to, drive a race car and win. Yeah. I think the hacks, Scott Abel said that, like Scott was one of my clients at Balboa, and he's a well-known Canadian fitness coach.
Yeah.
And he says a collection of exercises doesn't make a program.
Exactly. Yeah.
And it's the same thing. A collection of hacks is not going to make, you're not going to build a productivity methodology through a collection of hacks.
Yeah.
And that's what people need to realize, that hacks are great, like for a temporary thing. You want to do a quick thing and fix it. Okay, cool. But if you want to build really something sustainable, and I think sustainability is the buzzword here that I want you guys to understand and remember, that if you want to, over time, be able to perform over a long period of time, so you're going to need to adopt strategies or habits or routines, rituals or processes, anything like from this range that are going to be able to keep you going for a long period of time. Okay, so we're not talking about a hack here. We're talking about an optimization of process. We're talking about building stronger habits. We're talking about building rituals of efficiency.
Yeah.
All these things that will, on the long term, compound and bring you the results that you want. But you've all read, that's funny because people are attracted to that, but also like books that teach you that you need your 10,000 hours to achieve mastery. People love that too.
Yeah.
So I think it's not a matter of being lazy. I think the entrepreneur who really wants to build a business wants to read the 4-Hour Workweek because he wants to know how to optimize.
Yeah.
He wants to know, how can I just not work all the time? How can I make my career that I truly love and that I'm fulfilled by more enjoyable, so I can do other things that also fulfill me? I think that's more like the symptom, consuming this, just like you guys are consuming the Done by Noon book or the podcast or whatever, is that I understand that. Like we've been doing it like since we're entrepreneurs, Chris, that's the quest for that. But the key thing is to also embrace the fact of achieving mastery, of understanding that it's a process over time and that you are willing to commit. I think this is what true entrepreneurs do. I think the entrepreneurs are those who say they're entrepreneurs but they keep jumping from one thing to another because they just don't have the patience or the time to dedicate, their 10,000 hours to something. They're the ones who they're not going to have longevity. You're going to forget about these people. Like they're never going to be in the portrait. They're never going to build anything significant.
Right.
You're never going to remember that. So, I think, and yeah, it's not, I think it's a fact that entrepreneurs love working. It's part of the fulfillment. And it's great. I mean, I don't know about you, but I couldn't see myself not working. but it's how you define your work. How do you define work? What's your definition of work? For you, does that mean being just busy, doing busy work, busy tasks, or actually working on something that fulfills you and moves you forward?
Yeah, Roseanne and I were talking about that earlier about, these days, what is retirement really? Like, I don't know about you, but I don't see myself retiring from anything. Like, I'm always going to be doing something because I always feel like I need to be contributing in some way. And if I'm retired, like, that's why I think you see in society these days, people stop working and then they basically, like, everything else kind of falls apart. Their health falls apart. They can't move anymore. So you really need to, I feel more, and I think as entrepreneurs, we're in the quote unquote good boat in terms of contributing to society, because I feel that even if we're not doing what we're doing now, we don't see age as that limitation of some place in life later on where we're going to quote unquote stop working and retire. I think we're always going to be contributing in some way. It's just that as entrepreneurs, we find a way to be able to generate income from it.
But the nature of what we're going to be doing is more than likely going to be different.
Of course.
Because when I come on, like, let's say the age of, let's say 60 years old, obviously I will want to have my money, my assets to start working for me.
Right.
So obviously I don't want to be chasing cash flow at that age. I don't think like that. I see how I'm not old. I'm 38 years old, but I'm not as energetic as I was when I was 23.
Right.
I like to take things at a different pace. Approach things at a different pace. I think at 60, I will more than likely want to approach things at a different pace. So obviously, I'm probably not going to go and chase, let's say, profit and cash flow. I will want some investment to take care of that for me.
Mm-hmm.
However, I will be more than likely chasing projects that will not only fulfill me, but that are going to have a deeper impact based on my knowledge and based on what I've accomplished. Right. So the nature, I think, on the projects is going to be quite different. But no, I'm like you. I don't see myself, like, for me, retirement, that's just a weird word. But that doesn't mean that I might only be working on, something for 10 hours a week or whatever. It really depends. And truth be told, I have no idea.
Mm-hmm.
I might come and say, like, you know what, I'm done with that stuff. I doubt it. Like, I kind of know, I know who I am, and I know my patterns, but I think it might be more based on what I truly want to take on. So I have an opportunity to work on something, I will. And I know so many entrepreneurs who reach that age, and for them, it's like fun projects. It's like, oh, I'm going to take on that project. It seems fun, or it seems like it can help a lot of people. It's I think it's a fun position to be in. That's more my idea of retirement.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's exactly like I see it the same way. Like, just evolving and growing with the times and just contributing. I think as long as you're always solving a problem, I think that's who we are as entrepreneurs. As long as we're out there solving a problem, we'll be okay, because I think that's how we feel we contribute to society and provide value to society. I think that's probably the most important thing.
Yeah, I know. I tried to do otherwise, but I was just not successful at it. I was not very successful at being an employee. Oh man. But that's what we do. But I think overall what it says is that, yes, we want more freedom, but that's just pretty much what you need to acknowledge is that because you want that and you're attracted to it, means that you need to start working on building better habits, better processes to a nicer, manageable, and more harmonized way of leading your business and leading yourself first, and then leading your business.
That's well said. I like that.
Yeah,
so
I think this is
no 4-hour work week then for you?
I don't know. You know what? It's like I read it a few times. I like to. I like that book. I really like that book. I'm not a fan of Tim Ferriss. Like as far as follow, I don't follow him. Like I don't know. I'm not into that groove of over optimization. I get it. I have a lot of friends who are.
Yeah.
I think Tim is more like like what we call biohackers now.
Yeah.
That kind of groove, which I mean, I have great friends who are deep in biohacking and they're into it. I'm not in that type of groove, although I enjoy learning from it and learning from them and seeing what they do. And that's not judgmental about it, not at all. It's just not the way I'm really engineered. That's not really what makes me like tick, really. So yeah, no, it's not about that. For me, it's all about, like, the key has always been fulfillment. Happiness, fulfillment, relationships, health. These are the things that are very more important.
Yep.
But sustainability, sustainability is a big keyword, and for you too. I assume that it is as well. Is that you want things to last a long time? Whether it's your marriage or your business or your relationships, things like that. I feel that's more of our profiles as humans and entrepreneurs.
Well, I mean, and again, going back to the 4-hour work week, I think a lot of people believe, or people who want to believe that are always in there for like the end result. Whereas I think true entrepreneurs are in for the long game. Like when I started my business, I mean, I would never say that my kids are my legacy. Like I always wanted to be able to leave a legacy with the work that I've done and the contribution that I've made to society. And I teach my kids for them to leave their own legacy. I don't want them to be my legacy. So for me, it's always been about playing the long game. And I got caught up in the 4-hour work week trap, and I got caught up in the hacks trap and in the get rich quick kind of stuff. But you have to, like, as an entrepreneur, you have to foundationally, you really need to believe in the long term and what it is that you're contributing, and know that you're in it for the long haul. Because if you're just chasing that end result and always looking for, you're always looking for the get rich quick thing, or looking for the immediate, it's going to be a tough road. Like it really will be, because you'll never be able to set your roots and your foundation in what it is that you believe, because you're always looking for the next thing. So
you're going to be disappointed.
And having a big picture outlook and playing the long game is the important thing, and what everybody should really strive for.
You're always going to be disappointed, and you say, "Oh, this shit doesn't work." No, it just doesn't work because you're not applying it properly. You don't understand, what it entails. I think that's more what it's all about. It's like, hey, yeah, it's a good thing to be in love with the idea, but I would encourage you to be more in love with the process. And I think a lot of people, it's like marriage. Some people a lot of people are in love with a certain idea of what it should be, and when the reality hits, and it's not what it is, you're like, oh, well, no, I don't want that. That's bullshit. Like, marriage is not for me. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
But it's true. It happens all the time. I think people have a specific image of what they want, but when the reality hits, is that they're not willing to work for it, or they're not willing to put in the time, the effort in order to reach something like that. I think that's the main difference, so, and honestly, like, if you're listening to this and you're not willing to put in the time or willing to improve and get better, you can just stop listening, because we don't want to talk to people just here for the quick thing and the quick results. And then like, oh, well, no, that's not, like, it doesn't work. No, it's not, and it's not going to work because it's not going to work because of your attitude. And your business is not going to work because of your attitude. And you're not going to leave a legacy because of your attitude, right? So put yourself in check and understand, the reality.
I honestly, Dave, I would even go one step further and say, if that's your attitude towards things, you might not be fit to be an entrepreneur.
Probably not.
Because you have to have the resilience to stick things out and to keep going. And if you're just going to be jumping from one shiny object to the other, it's not And trust me, like I'm not knocking anybody for that, but and I know it's a learning process, but I used to be like that as well, where it was like shiny object syndrome. And it wasn't until I really set the foundation of what it was that I wanted and understood that I'm in this for the long haul. And then when you can understand that, then you know that like a month or 2 months or a quarter is only a blip in the radar in the grand scheme of things.
I realized like it's the same. I remember when I started weight training when I was a kid, and I was taking all these supplements, and that was at the time where it's funny we barely hear about creatine anymore. but creatine was like, holy smokes, like you're taking creatine. So it was like kind of the big thing, right? So I was taking creatine. It was like thinking it would make me like absolutely huge in no time, right? And then I was disappointed. It's like, whoa, that thing doesn't work. Because like I'm not getting these huge amount of muscles like the guys on in the ads in the magazines. Like it's not working. This is bullshit. And then I realized this is when I started like actually having a structured diet from an actual coach, that I started seeing like crazy results and actually in a fast way. And it wasn't a hack. It was like, listen, if you want sustainable result, like you're gonna have to do things like you're gonna have to clean up the way you eat. What I present you and what you just did for 12 weeks, this is the way you're gonna have to do it, for a very long time.
For life, for your career. Life. Yeah.
Exactly. As long as you want to run with this.
Yep.
And this is how it is. So I think people want to jump on optimization before having something to optimize.
Oh,
you cannot optimize something that is not already solid, right? And it's like supplementation. A lot of guys are going to start the gym taking a lot of supplements, taking like, I just need to take the supplements and go to the gym. It's going to be okay. No, it's not. Start by cleaning up your diet. I would rather actually have you do push-ups and sit-ups and crunches and things like that for 3 months and have a perfectly clean diet, versus actually like going to the gym and eating half-ass.
Yeah.
I think you get better results that way. So that's how powerful that is. But yeah, you cannot optimize, you can optimize a pile of shit as much as you want. It's still going to be a pile of shit, and it's going to crumble. And and as good as it looks, it's going to crumble.
Not to be overkill on the analogies or anything, but one of my health mentors, Paul Chek, used to say that supplements, and we can say this about optimizers in business, are like the golden nails. And so if you're building a ship, you can buy like the most expensive nails, but if you're using really shitty, maggoty wood that's rotting and everything, which is the foundation of what your business is, or the foundation of what your program is, which would be your diet and the exercise, or primarily your diet. It doesn't matter what kind of nails you use or how expensive they are, or if you have the best nails. If the foundation of it is completely crap, then you really have nothing to build on. So you've got to make sure that you get the foundational elements correct. And then you can look at optimizing with supplements or looking at these hacks or optimizers within business.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%, amigo. 100%. We're going to talk about diet and exercise actually in a future episode, but it's a very part, we talked about self-leadership, but it's a big part of self-leadership. So we're going to expand on that in a future episode. Oh, Chris, cool. Always good, man. I hope, today, like we brought you guys some, new paths of reflection towards the 4-hour work week and just what it all means and what it all entails, overall, and why you might be attracted to it and why you might think it's bullshit, or why you might think that, this is the Holy Grail, so yeah. All right, mi amigo, have a great day. Have a great week.
You too, my man.
And I will see you next week.
Enjoy your self-quarantine.
Always. See you, buddy.
See you, man.
You have just listened to the Done by Noon podcast. If you are interested in hearing more, do not hesitate to subscribe to our channel. Click on the 5 stars or check out our free tools and trainings at donebynoonpodcast.com. Thanks again for listening and stay awesome. We'll see you next time.